Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome to this 1.1 session. My name is Els, and for those of you who join us for the first time, let me give you a little bit of a background. We started this project in May 2020. That was in the middle of the pandemic, a very stressful time for many people around the globe. And the idea came that as several of us working for one point or meditating on a regular basis, the meditation we practice is called Raja Yoga. It's the yoga of the mind. And we had this strong feeling that why not to share some of these thoughts and ideas with a wider audience. And that was the start of the project. Every fortnight on Fridays at 9 in the morning, we have a half-hour meditation session guided by very experienced meditators, both national and international guest speakers. So far, we have had more than 120 sessions, and they have all been recorded and are available on YouTube. Today, I'm very pleased to welcome Parmjit Basra, who joins us from Leicester in the UK. Parmjit has a background in science. He has a science degree from the University De Montfort in Leicester. He has worked in various of industries, including fashion, education, the building sector, but he has also worked for the local authority in Leicester as a senior manager for many years. Parmjit has been practicing and teaching Raja Yoga meditation for many years, I think for over 25 years now. He's a very engaged speaker with a wealth of experience, and he facilitates talks and seminars on self-development, spiritual well-being, spiritual leadership, etc. He is, I would say, the right hand of the meditation center in Leicester. He helps there a lot, and I'm very pleased because I know he has a very busy schedule that he can be with us today for this half-hour meditation session. And the topic for today is When I Change, the World Changes. So very warm welcome to you, Parmjit.
Very warm welcome to you, Els, and thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.
So this topic, When I Change, the World Changes, is so apt in today's society. Most people say, well, when you change, I'll change. You know, when you're kind to me, I'll be kind to you. When you give me love, I'll give you love. But what happens is, what we don't realize is that what we're actually doing, we've become very conditioned to think and behave in a certain way. So we're very much under the control of external influences. Now, we know from our own experience, we can't really change other people. We can't change situations. But the only person that I can change is myself. So if I truly want to change the world, the change has to start within the self. I know from my own personal experiences, growing up in a very sort of Western educated society, I was very much inspired to accumulate as much as I could from the outside, from the job, from relationships, from possessions. But all of those things, instead of me enjoying the fruits of happiness from that, actually made me feel very insecure. Because what I didn't realize was, it was the external world that was changing me. It was the external world controlling me. So, for example, weather is nice. So what do people do? When the sun is shining, everyone is shining with their happy faces. But when the sun goes behind the clouds, suddenly the face is not so happy. So you can see how external influences are shaping our attitude, our behavior, and the way we interact with the self and others. So is there a way out? Absolutely. I started doing meditation in July 95, and I would say it has been a game changer for me. What it enabled me to do was to experience for the first time that actually I had a choice in the thoughts that I created, the words that I spoke, the actions that I performed, the feelings that I had. Whereas before, it was very much, if you're kind to me, if you show me respect, then I will reciprocate that. But now it doesn't matter, because I can't control people. I can't change people. What I can do is I can change myself. So if I let go of the external supports and dependencies, then what happens is I actually remove the addictions that I've acquired, thinking erroneously that my happiness was based on the outside world. Now I'm very happy. Why? Because I know who I am. I have a choice in how I interact with others. And I have discovered that the more attention I pay to myself, the more my happiness increases. And that happiness is reflected in my relationships with my family, with my friends, and with society, because I've let go of expectations. So I have now come to a stage where I appreciate and I express my gratitude in everything that I have: my good health, my financial situation, my family, my friends, but no longer complaining about the outside, because I know that if I can truly change the way I am, I will definitely have a positive influence on others. Whereas in the past, it was very much, when I acquire this, when this happens, when that happens, I will be happy. When I get the promotion, when I get a bigger salary, I will be happy. And then I can do some amazing things. Well, I did all of that. But did it bring me happiness? Did it give me stability? Did it give me this, the enlightenment that I was looking for in life? Well, for a short while, perhaps. But it wasn't continuous. It was very temporary. So I was constantly chasing after things. And once I'd acquired them, the feeling was, yes, this is good. But then there was this feeling, I want more, I want more. So I was never happy. It's like an endless queue of desires. You meet one desire, there is another. So having discarded all of that, I started to look within myself, and I realized, actually, what I've been searching for, what I wanted in life, I already had. It's just that I was looking on the external level. Now, all I had to do was to connect with all these wonderful qualities that I have, and that we all have. Every one of us in this world is actually an ocean of peace, an ocean of love, an ocean of contentment. So all I've got to do is dive into the ocean and go into the depths and experience the stillness, the happiness, the contentment that we all have. But it takes courage. I have to say, it really does take courage, because you're going against the flow of normal thinking, traditional thinking. So people found it very strange when I decided that I wasn't chasing after money. I wasn't chasing after positions. Now I use those things. I have possessions. I'm very fortunate that I have the latest that the world can offer me in terms of technology, but there's no dependency, because I know that can go. So if I'm dependent on, say, broadband, if I'm dependent on the phone, then sooner or later, it's going to go. And if it's going to go, then what's going to happen to how I feel? Well, that will go. So if I truly want to bring change, I have to start within myself. I need to stop trying to control others. I need to stop interfering in others and start interfering with myself. And so that means accepting the self. So that means I've got to look inwards, and I'm going to see the real me. I need to let go of all the roles and the identities that I have acquired over the many years of my life. And now I've got to spend some time with myself. The moment I start looking inwards, it is at that moment I actually become liberated from the control of the external world. I found it very difficult, having become very wealthy through my family's wealth, family business, having acquired what most people would be sort of chasing after, like expensive cars or big houses. It actually made me feel very insecure. The insecurity came because I was afraid of losing it. On one hand, there was happiness, but on the other hand, there was this fear of I could lose this. And of course, everything happens, everything will pass, and you do lose your good health, you do lose relationships, you do lose your situations. So that world is constantly changing. What I got to do is to be in control in a world that's fast changing. And I can only do that when I start changing myself from within. When I look inwards and I start to accept who I am, appreciate who I am, it is then that I realize that happiness and contentment comes from within, not from the outside. So how does that change the world? Well, it's very simple. Because I'm in a state of happiness, I'm in a state of contentment because I've accepted who I am, and I'm no longer comparing myself with others. I'm no longer competing with others. Now I feel full. And because I'm happy and content, when I interact with others, there are no expectations. And when there are no expectations, I go beyond this very competitive world, this very comparative world. So now I have no expectations. I accept the individual. I accept the situation. I accept whatever is happening without any conditions attached. Whereas before, there was very much conditions attached. And if you met those conditions, I'm happy. But now there are no conditions. Of course, when we go beyond putting conditions, we actually interact with others from a place where they feel secure as well, because they no longer see me as a threat. They no longer see me as competition. They no longer see me as one who is bossy or one who is trying to control. Because I accept the other individual, they can be their natural self. So for the first time in this awareness, we can actually have a true relationship based on acceptance of each other as we are, what we are. The moment I accept others, they will accept me. It is the law of nature. It is the law that once you give out some energy, you will receive the same energy in kind. So if I'm nice to people, if I'm kind to people, guess what? People are going to be nice to me. People are going to be kind to me. So what am I doing? Is I'm subtly influencing others through my consciousness, the way I think. Because after all, everything we do is at an energy level. You know, we can pick up the atmosphere. We can go into a room and we can feel how tense it is or how light it is. And so where does that come from? From us. So I'm creating thoughts that are very peaceful, very loving, very happy, and they pick up those vibrations. I may not say anything. I don't have to say anything. I've been into places where I used to manage other managers. I used to have 6 managers under my wing at one point. And sometimes I never said anything. I just listened. But I always had good wishes for them. I always accepted them. Yes, there were moments when I had to sort of be assertive, challenging, but it was not on the basis that I was right and you just do what I say. No, it was total acceptance. And because of that, the relationship that I had was very good because people were very forthcoming, people were very open. And inevitably, when times were tough, you know, you had to get things done, targets met, key objectives met, people were very responsive. Why? Because I was treating others with respect. So in a very subtle way, I was controlling them in a positive way. In fact, I didn't even have the awareness of control, but what was happening was people liked being in my team. I always had compliments. People said, I love being in your team. Why? Because I'm not overbearing. I was not into micromanagement. I was definitely a macro manager. But when it's time to intervene, I did intervene. But even then, it was always with respect. It was always with kindness. It's always with appreciation. And there was always this attitude of gratitude where I acknowledge people's contribution. And why? Because it was coming from within me. I was happy with myself. I didn't need any praise. It didn't matter whether people insulted me or not. It was more about, have I accepted myself unconditionally? Have I let go of the expectations that I have of myself or others have of me? In that consciousness, I felt very light. And now I'm in a state where I realized I can change the world, but I don't have to go out on a crusade. I don't have to stand on a platform and say, you know, you have to do this, you have to do that. In today's world, we have so many groups nowadays trying to change this, trying to change that. And whilst it can have a sort of impact for a short time, but most of the time it becomes very disruptive. So if I want real change, I have to start within myself. I need to throw out the rubbish that I've accumulated from many, many roles and labels that I've become attached to. And what do I mean by rubbish? Putting myself down, lacking self-respect, trying to sort of always prove myself. No, let go all of that. Just come into the awareness. I'm a wonderful being. I'm an actor playing a role. And everyone that I interact with is an actor playing their role. And how they play their role, that's their choice. Now, I have 4 wonderful grandchildren. All our 3 children have grown up, which is very nice. And they've all raised their children in this sort of state that I do, meditation. They do meditation. They've taught their children values of self-respect. And guess what? The relationships that I have with my family, with my immediate 3 children and our grandchildren, is wonderful. Why? Because we only see good things in each other. And because we see good things, there are no expectations. We treat each other with love, with happiness, and that's returned in kind. So people like our company. Why? Because we're happy. We become like a magnet of peace. We become a magnet of happiness. So I need to pay attention to myself, because it's so easy to go back into the old way and be influenced by the external world. Well, if the world can influence me, then I can definitely influence the world, but I need to do it in a positive way. So I have no expectations of others. I will treat people with respect. So now in my building trade, I interact with that, connecting with others as actors playing a role. And I will listen. I will actively listen to what they have to say. And I will act after that. After I've assessed the information, I will make an informed decision. And sometimes they're right and sometimes I'm right. But it's never the feeling I am better than you. It's always accepting each other. And because of that, everything flourishes. Everything is done smoothly. Yes, there will be some tensions from time to time, but we can overcome that. And when there's tension, I always look at myself. What is creating the tension? And I will find it's usually me. Maybe I don't have tolerance power. Maybe I can't let go of the past. So I spend some time with myself, just accepting myself, just reminding myself, I am a peaceful being. And the moment I remind who I am, suddenly I'm seated on my throne of self-respect again. It's almost like I become an emperor sitting here in this center of the forehead, and I'm seeing everything, and I'm ruling this kingdom of my thoughts, my feelings, my words, my actions. Because whatever I do, whatever you do, we all have a choice. And now I'm exercising that choice in a practical way. So the more I practice this, paying attention to myself, then I will reflect what's inside me with the outside world. So even with nature, for example, I have a very kind nature. That is, I want nature to do well, but I can only do that when I respect nature. So how can I do that? Because I respect myself. I know the resources that we have are finite. They are limited. So I have a duty of care to interact with the world in that same awareness. And what I found is that when I'm kind to nature, nature is also kind to me. So just when, for example, when it's the heavy shower and I'm inside and I have to go out, I do find that nature is also very cooperative. just at that time, there's sort of less rain. There is an opportunity when the weather sort of stands still. And then as soon as I get to my destination, it seems like the storms continue where they left off. So definitely we can change the world, but the change definitely has to start with the self. So I would say, look at yourself with an honest heart, recognize your own weaknesses and address them. Because if we're not honest with ourselves, we cannot remove these weaknesses. Otherwise, those weaknesses will influence us in a very negative way. And of course, that will reflect it in our interactions with others. So the best time to sort of engage with the self is definitely first thing in the morning. So spend some time with yourself to get to know yourself. Go into that sort of state of introversion. Introversion not meaning I disconnect from the world. No, I'm just reminding myself I am a wonderful being. I am a peaceful soul. I am a wonderful actor. And then I'm projecting those vibrations, that vision, that attitude with everyone outside. And then the response will be in kind. It is absolutely the laws of nature, the laws of motions, that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. So if we have good thoughts about others, then others will have good thoughts about us. And so if I change, they will change. And when they change, they will change someone else and they will change others. And suddenly you've got a movement. And I know that this world can change. Never, ever say, oh, this world won't change. No, there's always hope. And the hope has to start by accepting the self. And the moment I accept it, the moment I become it, then change happens quite quickly. So I hope I've given you some food for thought. But I also need to have power. I can have information. You know, it's like your phone. It can have a lot of wonderful apps. It can do some amazing things. But if the battery is discharged, then the phone becomes redundant. So it's important to make sure the battery is fully charged. In the same way, I need to be fully charged. My battery needs to be charged. That's the power. And that power I'm talking about, we gain through the practice of meditation. So meditation is really the art of changing our consciousness, changing our thoughts and our words, and ultimately our actions and our behavior and attitude with the whole world. So I want to practice this now, just to give you a sort of demonstration that anyone can do this. I mean, I've seen people who used to be very cynical of meditation, but now meditation is like a medication that helps the self. It starts healing the wounds of yesteryears. It allows us to sort of accumulate that sort of resilience, that happiness, those treasures that we all have. So I'm going to ask you now very simply to sit very comfortably. Just relax your body. So put 2 feet on your floor and keep your back upright and switch off everything around you. You know, switch off the mobile phone, the radio, the TV. Just contemplate sitting in silence. And you can keep your eyes open. You can look at an object that's in front of you, like this image, this point. And just go inwards. Just withdraw from the external world. And just sit in this place of inner silence. Imagine yourself, you're standing on a bridge. And you're watching the river of your thoughts flow by. There may be thoughts of people, of situations, of things to do, words that were spoken. Just stand back and let them go. Now create a new thought on the screen of your mind. I am a wonderful being. I see myself as a carefree emperor seated on my throne of self-respect, where I am the master of my thoughts, my words, my feelings, and I'm sitting in this inner world of silence. It is a fortress of peace. Nothing of the past can touch it. There are no influences of the outside. Here I can be me. I can let go of all the identities that I have acquired. I remove the masks, and I can see the real me. I accept myself unconditionally. I let go of the past. I let the past be the past. Now I reveal the real me. I appreciate who I am. And I look inwards even more. And I see the real beauty of the self. I am a being of peace. A being that is full of all jewels of virtues. There is no attainment lacking within me. And I share these attainments with the world outside, to nature, to the animals, to all the people in this world. I am sending out rays of peace, vibrations of love. And I feel so happy with myself, so content. And I experience the lightness of the self. I feel light, and my body feels light. I just appreciate this moment. And I accept myself as I am, what I am. And I experience the silence within me. And I can connect with this silence, this peace, whenever I want. It is just a thought away. I allow this peace to vibrate in myself, in this body, and in this world. Thank you. Om Shanti.
Thank you, Parmjit, for this beautiful meditation commentary and sharing your thoughts on this topic. When I change, the world changes. What I like is how you actually linked the definition of meditation is like removing the mask and see the real me, and also to let go of the past, to have that unconditional love for the self, because I know that I'm a being of peace and happiness, and also how you explained that deep happiness comes from within and not necessarily from external situations or my achievements or my possessions. So thank you so much, Parmjit.
Thank you for having me.
Also a big thank you for the technical team, always supporting us behind the scenes. I hope everyone joining us today that you enjoyed the session. The recordings are available on YouTube. So have a nice day. Bye-bye.